Welcome to another exciting video. In this video we're going to start our subnetting journey and continue on from IP classes. So this video assumes that you already know what an IP address is, what a subnet mask is, and what the various IP classes are, for example A, B and C, and how that relates to the different subnet masks by default. So got a couple of questions, 4 questions here on the left hand side that I'm going to go through, and I'll sort of use this black box here for the answers. Okay, so keeping things simple. So this is essentially the visualization tool that I use for calculating subnets as quickly as possible. So let's start with question 1 and how I would work that out. So how many addresses are available within the network address 192.168.0.0/26? So the /26 is meaning that I need to use 26 bits. Okay, so that essentially would give us the subnet mask of 255.255.255.192, and the 192 comes from adding these two bits together here. So 128 plus 64, and all the other 255s come from all these other bits added together. Okay, so the question is actually asking how many addresses are available within the network address. Okay, so from there, so the lights are on, I would draw a line here. So let's just do that to visualize it. Okay, so that's my line. So all these bits to the left of the line are reserved for the network, and anything to the right of it are reserved for host. So I'm going off this number here. So there's 64 addresses available. Okay, so if the question asked how many usable addresses are, you would always subtract 2 from that number. Okay, so the question is just asking how many addresses are available, so we'll go with 64 for this one. If it was a usable addresses, it would be 62. Okay, so let's move on to question 2. How many usable addresses are available on each subnet for 192.168.0.127? Okay, so let's just remove that line for this one. Okay, messed that up a bit, but we'll put that back. Okay, so in this point we've got 27 bits. Okay, so I would draw my line here, and I would go off the 32 number here, so to the right of my line that I'm drawing, so the network portion. But this question is actually asking for usable, so this answer here would be 30, so it's 32 minus 2, so it gives us 30. Okay, so for question 3, what is the first usable address on subnet 2 for the IP address 192.168.0.26? So again, I'm going to use the 26 bits. Okay, and for this question here, I would need to write out the different network addresses. So network 1, let's just get down here. So answer 3, network 1. So the first address is 192.168.0.0. Okay, so how I work this out is the 26. So I'm using 26 bits. I'm going to the right of that for the range. So I know that my next network will be the next network address will be 192.168.0.64. Okay, so the range of network 1 goes to 192.168.0.63 is the last address. Okay. The question asks what's the first usable address on subnet 2? So that the 64 is the network address. So the first address would be .65. So the answer is 192.168.0.65. Okay. So let's just say that if that particular question was a /27, then I would be going up in the fourth octet in blocks of 32 to give me my address. Okay, so answer 4. So what is the first usable address on subnet 3 for IP address 172.31.00/22? So this is a class B address here by default. So by default we're using 16 bits. So I need to remove some of these that I've been using here down to the 22. Okay, so I would draw my line here now. Okay, so in this particular instance, I'm going up in blocks by our original theory of 1024. Now the maximum number I can go up is 255, so it's in numbers of 256 because 0 is a number, but the maximum decimal number is 255. So from that information there, how I would work this out is I would divide 1024 by 256 because that's our maximum number, which will give us 4. Okay, so I know that that third octet in this particular question is going up in blocks of 4. Okay, so network 1 is given to us. It's 172.31.0.0. Network 2 would be 172.31.4.0. Okay, and network 3 172.31.8.0. Okay, so the range is going in between that. So the last usable address on network 2 would be 172.31.7.255. Okay, now with this question here, it's asking what is the first usable address on subnet 3 for IP address 172. So this is my network address here. So it's just simply adding 1 to the last portion of that. So it'll be 172.31.8.1. Is the answer. Okay, so that is the answer for this particular question. That was the answer for answer 3. That's the answer for 2. And that's the answer for 1. Okay, just going to take some practice. Make your own questions. Use the tool to visualize the answers, and next session or next video we will go on to variable length subnetting. So this is fixed length subnetting. It's not changing between the subnets. On the next one we will do variable length.